Recording.
Are you recording?
I am indeed.
That's nice.
Takes over.
We could turn mine around. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's you, and that's me.
There he is.
Welcome. Welcome, my fellow Toastmasters. Excited to have you here and to have you online. Ready to practice our public speaking. Before we get started, we have a couple of people who are going to share. Who is the thought of the day today?
I have a thought if you want to hear it.
Okay, we want to hear it.
It's technically a poem. It's not too terribly long. It's called The Eulogy from a Physicist. Okay, let me pull it up. It's right there. Okay. You want a physicist to speak at your funeral. You want the physicist to talk to your grieving family about the conservation of energy so that they will understand that your energy has not died. You want the physicist to remind your sobbing mother about the first law of thermodynamics, that no energy gets created in the universe and none is destroyed. You want your mother to know that all your energy, every vibration, every BTU of heat, every wave of every particle that was her beloved child remains with her in this world. You want the physicist to tell your weeping father that amid energies of the cosmos, you gave as good as you got. And at one point, you'd hope that the physicist would step down from the pulpit and walk to your brokenhearted spouse there in the pew and tell him that all the photons that ever bounced off your face, all the particles whose paths were interrupted by your smile, by the touch of your hair, hundreds of trillions of particles have raced off like children, their ways forever changed by you. And as your widow rocks in the arms of a loving family, may the physicist let her know that all the photons that bounced from you were gathered in the particle detectors that are her eyes, that those photons created within her constellations of electromagnetically charged neurons, whose energy will go on forever. And the physicist will remind the congregation of how much of all your energy is given off as heat. There may be a few fanning themselves with their programs, as he says, and he will not tell them he will tell them the warmth that followed through you in life and is still here, still part of that we are, even as we who mourn continue to the heat of our own lives. I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
An A for effort.
Toastmaster?
It looks like you decided they're doing volunteer classes for Toastmaster.
No one volunteered, so I do not have any jokes off the cuff.
You're always for
Okay.
Therefore, we're going to hand the meeting over to our Toastmaster today, James Breen.
Let's go.
All right, so a couple functionary roles. We have Claire is our all counter grammarian. Claire, you want to go over your role?
Yes, I will be counting filler words such as like, so, double and. I'll also be keeping track of interesting uses of language. And our word of the day is recalcitrant, which means uncooperative, stubborn, and refusing to obey rules or orders. I just put that in the chat. So if you use the word of the day, you get some bonus points. Thanks.
Perfect.
Great.
And then movement master would like to be movement master.
I can do that.
Okay, perfect. Chris, movement
Okay,
master.
Mark, give that.
Give it a half.
Yes.
And then for timer, do we have anybody that wants to volunteer for timer?
Didn't Kenzie do it?
Oh, Kenzie's timer. Okay, perfect.
How long are your speeches today?
7 to 9.
5 to 7.
Who's first?
I think
What's that?
Who's on first?
Wow.
Run.
Oh, we gotta add some suspense.
Either way, I don't care.
Bronze first. Yeah.
Yeah.
5 to 7 and 7 to 9?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Come on.
Perfect. Thank you, functionaries. And then with that, I'll introduce our first speaker. The man who needs no introduction, known as our resident philosopher, our
Thank you,
master, and in this club, El Presidente. Karan is an entrepreneur and a member of Silicon Valley. I had my own spin-off with Karan. Member of Silicon Valley speech since 2018. He's using the 5-line story method to tell a story on the workflow of minutes. That's fine.
How many of you, show me with the raised hand, have searched the internet for over 10 minutes looking for some information that you knew you had?
You already had.
Yeah, that you'd already found before.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
And while searching, how many of you thought to yourself, I have already saved this somewhere, where is it? There you go. You have one candidate.
Usually I'm saying, why didn't I write this down? That's what I'm saying.
The point is that today, we do not have an information problem. We have a workflow problem. And AI has actually introduced a new twist in them. When you talk to your ChatGPT or Gemini or any of these tools, you often get confident answers, but you're not actually sure whether the answers that it's giving you is truthful or not. And that's why we have a lot of new solutions introduced, like a product by Google called Notebook LM, where you add your own sources to it. So when it generates answers, it uses your own sources to generate its answers. A few weeks ago, a month or so ago, knowing that Chris uses Notebook LM, I asked him if he had some time and could let me show him my workflow on how I do this, my workflow, how it looks and how it may help him. He was kind enough to give me the time and we went through it. A few weeks later, I asked him if he had used it, and he said, he smiled and said, no, not really, I'm doing my own thing. I was curious, so I asked him, what are you doing? And he showed me. He said, well, every time I have presentations, I go and gather information from different places, and everything that I do is a one-off. I make the presentation, and then that's it. Now, I want to ask you something. Is anything that you do ever one-off?
No.
When you create a speech, do you ever draw on what has been there before? Do you ever want to mix and match stuff? Now, this is not to point anything out for Chris, but this is a very common thing for us human beings. We have a process that we get used to and it feels comfortable for us, and that's what we do. And the workflow really comes into play when you want to have more flexibility, when you're looking for that information and you can't find it, or when you want to put a whole bunch of things together and you find out that you're maybe spending too much time doing it. And that's why workflow is important. And my suggestion is that any workflow needs to be a just-in-time workflow. My philosophy teacher always had a great example. He said, your field of inquiry. Your field of inquiry is what you have looked into and what you're researching. And what I'm suggesting is that it's really important as part of our workflow to, whenever you find something interesting, to save it and organize it and to know what it says. Instead of every time that you want to do the research, go and do the entire research, find a whole bunch of stuff, especially with AI. People may ask it to go do a research, use that corpus to generate something, not really knowing what's inside. Because when you know your field of inquiry, then the way that you interact with that information becomes a lot more intentional. And that is really the key. You know, AI gives us a lot of capabilities, and it's really important for us to be cognizant of how it's affecting our behavior. For example, today when I was creating the speech, I gave it to AI. It gave me some compliments. It gave me some suggestions on how to improve it. But what happened was that it also made me, instead of being free-flowing and giving a speech, trying to always go back to what it tells me. What I'm saying is, it's important to understand the tools, but it's more important in your workflow to know why you're doing it and still have your personality and your know-how at the forefront of this age of AI. Thank you.
Thank you for that. That was terrific. We'll start off with some 1-minute evaluations in a moment.
What? Say it again.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know why you were standing there.
Setting up the next.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you're having some
Oh, no.
technical
I
issues.
should explain myself.
Steve is just thinking about the
Yeah. Step ahead, Steve.
Okay. All right. Point taken.
With evaluations with Steve, no, I'm kidding. With Chris. Chris, any thoughts?
I like the topic. I think the parts that if you're told the audience and there's the most engagement is probably both from the audience because it's relevant. Story is good at, there's also just a level of intrigue. I think people let you know. I like the line at the beginning, I have an information problem, you have a workflow problem. I think from my perspective, just from like our conversation on the products, I still taking extrapolate further. I feel like the way the question was asked to the group as far as use your workflows, or you ever have one workflows. I can think of several examples where you have workflows that went off. But I think what would be helpful is maybe, for example, like using a one-off, what would be perceived as a one-off speech, as an example for crafting to Toastmasters, actually showing the workflows you've created and how that would be used into delivering this type of speech well. So you're taking the common objection, maybe that you hear from why this workflow would work, let's actually give a visual on why it does work, why it's actually not one-off. So if there's that common objection that you read get most, if that is the most common objection you get.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. And then can you remind me your name in the back?
Al.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank Thank you, Al. Any thoughts for Karan?
How do you spell it?
Yeah.
Is the L?
ELLE.
E-L-L-E?
Yes.
Yes.
As a an L as well. Same
Yeah.
spelling.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was engaged and then I lost my attention. I think because couldn't follow where the speech. I loved the subject, but I couldn't. I understood we had a workflow problem. AI helps us, and AI can give information, disseminate information, multiple sources. So we use our sources instead of theirs, but I got a little lost because I don't speak AI. So it was hard for me to follow the speech in the second.
So, Steve?
Yes, I'm all for speeches about AI and the new era that we are entering. However, I would agree with Elle, not everybody speaks AI or is as fluent as you may be or others in the audience may be. And some people might be recalcitrant about the whole process. So I would take it one step further and give a lot of really concrete examples. And you're talking about workflow. Not everybody understands exactly what that's all about. So take that extra step, but keep forging ahead with our AI education. It's appreciated.
Online.
I totally forgot about that. We'll have to give feedback to Steve. And then, Shar, do you want to round out the feedback?
Well, just my only suggestion is, I think I would love for you to talk about your own thing. You don't have to hold back on that.
Yeah, just to round it out.
Go on.
Oh, we finished Shar.
I'm agreeing with myself.
Finally, somebody.
All right, if Shar is I agree with all that's said. It's an interesting topic. I think we all are creatures of habit. We're recalcitrant to really change those up at the end of the day. But a workflow to me was something a lot more expansive, which is just any active processing information or task we do throughout the day can be construed as a workflow. So I think giving examples to the audience that helps them conceptualize what you're talking about could be helpful, but you had a great intro, a really interesting topic, and something I think a lot of us don't really think about too much in a very mechanical sense. To really enjoy the topic, Ron. And then our next speaker tonight was last week, I believe, compared to the LeBron James public speaking Toastmasters at least. He's been a member of Toastmasters since 2008, is a distinguished Toastmaster and our Vice President of Education. Tonight, Steve is going to take us through his plan to re-energize the Pathways course and use this resource to help our members become more effective, more confident public speakers, and accomplish goals 1 through 6 of the Distinguished Club program along the way. Please welcome, without further ado, Steve Evans.
How about this move, huh? Check it out, movement master. I also want you to see these slides. I've designed this deck for Zoom. Let's see how it works out. See how everybody is over there. We have all the information on the left-hand side. Tonight, it's going to be another in a series of creating a winning Toastmaster club. Now, rumor has it that I'm going to be doing an officers training next week. Could be. So all this is kind of a way to trot out some new ideas. But we're going to talk about Pathways tonight and how Pathways can help us become a winning Toastmaster club. Here are our goals: becoming a distinguished club. We talked about that last week. And tonight, re-emphasizing the Pathways program. Here is the DCP layout, the DCP program. And this is where all of the goals are kept. And I'm a firm believer in this. And a lot of people will say, I didn't sign up to Toastmasters to accomplish DCP goals. I'm a firm believer in this because I've been doing this a long time. And I think that a healthy winning Toastmaster club is one that adheres to these goals and tries to accomplish, because it organizes all of the activity and keeps us doing what we need to be doing. As you can see here, the first 6 goals are education goals. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We would like to be a President's Distinguished Club. Boom. Yeah, President's Distinguished Club. And that means that we're going to have to accomplish 9 of these 10 goals. I talked about the administrative and the new members and all that last week. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the education goals, pathways. Now, Elle, you might not be familiar with this, and some people might not be as familiar with pathways as probably they would like to be. But this is our Toastmaster education course. And last week I was talking about this is more than a course, this is a club. I've revised that a little bit. I'm rewriting this theme. I'm saying that Toastmasters is a great education course and more. It's also a public speaking club. That works better, right? I think so. More positive. What do you think about it? All right, there are 6 paths that help you achieve your goals. And you could take an assessment to find the one that fits you, or you can just choose one. And off you go. Each path features 5 levels, and here are the various paths that you can choose from. Dynamic leadership, persuasive influence, engaging humor, presentation mastery, motivational strategy, and visionary communications. Now, all of the paths have 5 levels. And this is just a brief review for people who may not be as familiar as they should be with this particular process. 5 levels, and if you want to know more, it's all in this document called the Navigator. I'm going to send that out to everybody, the link. Everything you could possibly want to know about Toastmasters is in this particular document. So in order to find your path and your pathway information, the first thing you need to do is go sign on to the Toastmaster site, go to the Basecamp. Basecamp will take you to your profile page. Welcome you, welcome Stephen. They call me Stephen. Welcome to Basecamp, Stephen. And then you choose the path that you're working on. And then it's pretty simple. It's all quite intuitive. I mean, you will be taken to a page that lists the things you need to do for completing level 1, including completing the icebreaker project, the speech with purpose. There are a total of 5 different speeches that you need to do for this. So I would encourage everybody who hasn't been doing this on a regular basis to go to Basecamp and explore and see what you can figure out, and see also where your progress in the whole path is at this particular point. Now, I'm doing a club success plan as the Vice President of Education. This is a pretty simple document. What we do is open it up and take a look at all of the people that are currently signed up for pathways. As you can see, here they are. And as you can see, we have a little work to do. This is what the Toastmaster database has as of right now. As you can see, I'm the only one that has done anything here. Yeah, so like I say, we have some work to do. But this kind of this is puzzling because people are giving speeches, which means that we're going to have to go back and first of all do an audit. And I'll talk about that in a moment. I have an idea of what people are doing. And as you can see here, we have James. You are working on presentation mastery, and you have done 3 of the 5 projects for level 1. I think. Maybe you've done more. But what we need to do is have you take a look, go to Basecamp, have you take a look at what you've done, and then do a little audit and say, hey, Steve, I did a speech here that I think would qualify for the speech with purpose or whatever. So I need everybody to do that. Here's Chris. You've done 1 of 5. You've done a whole lot more. I want to make sure that everybody is getting credit for the speeches that they're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out a spreadsheet. And it's going to be a way for us to take a look at the current progress that people have made and then plan out speeches in the future, speeches to be made so we can accomplish the goals for the members as well as the club. So you can take a look at Chris. He needs 5 at this particular point, but he has done more speeches than that. We know it. So we're going to have to do a little investigation here to see what he's already done. So let's say that he finds out that he has done 3 of the projects. So that means that you would automatically be going to the evaluation and feedback project. And then we could schedule that on October the 4th, and he could do the second speech on August the 11th, and then he would be ready for level 2 on August the 25th. We can take a look at James. Let's say you've done 3, so your next assignment would be to do the evaluation and feedback project, and you could do that on the 4th, and then you could do the second speech because it is a two-part project. The second speech of that project on August the 18th. And what I'm going to do, send out the spreadsheet, and everybody take a look at where they are and where they think that they can deliver the speeches that need to be delivered for you to accomplish the levels that you would like to accomplish, and then we can move through Pathways program in an organized way. All right? So all make sense? So we have a couple more here. Okay, we are, I got the to-do list here at the end. Sign up for Pathways if you haven't signed up already. Very simple process. If you have any questions, send me an email. We can do a quick Zoom, and I can walk you through the process. It's quite easy. The second thing is update your Pathways progress on that spreadsheet that I'm going to be sending out, and then schedule your Pathways speeches. That's all there is to it, and we could move forward and become a winning Toastmaster club. Now, here they are, our group back in 1924. They would be so proud that we're getting together and trying to accomplish the goals they laid out over 102 years ago, right? Here we are. Look at that group. Much better looking, don't you think? I think this is a class photo of a future President's Distinguished Club. Huh? It's up to us. The faith of Silicon Speech is in our name. Toastmasters.
Thank you, Steve. Now we'll open it up for some minute-long evaluation. We'll start with Karan. Feedback you give to Steve?
Great speech. I would just always add, for example, I was actually thinking some of the benefits you get from speech. So, for example, today's speech for me would have been maybe a persuasive. And what happens when you are on a pathway and you select a persuasive speech? I think it's going to frame the speech a little bit differently, and you will ask yourself, what am I trying to persuade people of? So what I'm trying to say is, if you're selling it, it's not that this is it, go check a look. It's like, if you're doing it, this is why it benefits you.
Yes, you're right. And I think one of the things, that point I should have made perhaps, is that whatever speech you want to give, you can usually shoehorn it into one of the projects and pathways. So you can do what you want to do, but it's within a framework, an intentional framework that gives you that, to be
and then you make it the speech because.
Good.
And then going on to those that are dialed in, Kenzie, would you like to give Steve any feedback?
Did you call on someone?
Kenzie.
I think you said my name, but the audio is
Yeah, I
really
did.
not clear.
Kenzie.
Yeah, it didn't come out.
Okay. The audio, so just so you guys know, the audio, all the people speaking in the back, I can't hear. I don't know about Claire. And then most people, except for Steve, I can't hear really when they're upstage. But anywho, I heard Steve loud and clear, and I object. I finished the pathways, and you did not give me any street cred. I went all the way through level 5 for presentation influencer, or whatever that thing is. And I learned so much, and it pushed me to be creative with finding how I can have an idea for a speech and somehow cater it to, the pathways. And it's actually really not that hard, especially when you have creative thinkers like Steve. So I really like how you brought that point up. And you also gave people tangible dates, especially for Chris. I think you're zeroing in with him, like when he could give his evaluation. I think the more specific you are with our goals and who you're talking to, I think it makes it easier to process and actually achieve these goals. So I think you did a great job with that, and we're probably going to hear more from you, and I look forward to that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kenzie. Claire, would you like to give Steve any feedback?
Yes, Steve, thanks for this speech. I liked that you incorporated Shar's feedback from last time about looked at it through the lens of your listeners and what they could actually get out of it rather than, oh, we need to be a distinguished club, because I think, like Shar said, we're here to become better speakers or to feel more confident up there. And it was helpful to feel like I actually had some incentive this time to look at the pathways. I also liked how you guided us through it visually. It felt easier to grasp when you were sharing your screen in that way. And yeah, you kept us engaged with your tone of voice and all of that.
Thank you.
Perfect. Chris, you want to go off?
Yeah. I'll give feedback and I'll go to the front so I can be heard. I can't see. And Claire. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, great. So I had 3 pieces of feedback we'll go through quickly. The first one, I know, is a joke with the movement master. It actually was very eye captivating. We start from one part of the stage and shuffled over. You say this more than anybody, but sameness is the enemy to a great speech. So the most movement you did was actually back and forth on the stage over here, which was dynamic. Consider the lateral stage movement as well. The one thing you'd always do well is with your PowerPoint, you're very intentional on what you have on there. The one part that was distracting on this one, though, was that on the first or second slide, when you had the different numbers on there, is missing a column title. So I wasn't sure what the different numbers are representing, whether it's where we're at now, we're trying to get to, but that'll be something to look at when you give it another time.
Yeah.
And then the last one is feedback that Karan shared and Kenzie shared, but I do think it's important, is that we just want to make sure that we're giving what the benefit is for the audience on doing a pathway speech. And I think you want to be intentional in including that in your speech, Dave. Mm-hmm. I think the biggest piece, as an outsider, why would anyone not continue Toastmasters? It's because the level of effort exceeds what the ROI or the perceived ROI and value is out of it. So if you've been coming for a while, you no longer feel like you're getting better, Pathways is the way for you, because you're intentional, you're outwardly describing and acknowledging what you want your goal to be with becoming a better speaker. And I also think, just as a group, we need to find a way to minimize the friction for us to be able to do that better. We should get more involved in it. But that was a great speech, and thank you for sharing it with us.
Good, thank you.
Thanks. Just to round out, good visuals, informative. I think at the end, when you specifically called some examples of us, myself included, it was a good takeaway. Right? Like, after the speech, go online, see what you need to finish Pathways. We're clearly not doing a great job of logging it. Then I would echo what some of the others said. Just, it would be great to just have a couple points on why following a Pathways framework is much better than just going out on your own and picking your own favorite speech topic of the day. Why following that specific framework will lead us to becoming better public speakers, I think, would be great content as well. Perfect. Good.
No, I want to do table topics now.
Before ready for table topics. Elle, any feedback you want to give?
I'm intrigued by the pathways, so that's intriguing to me. Have me hooked on. I'm a visual person. I'm more creative, so I like to see what's my end goal. Yeah, I also have that active mind, so I'm like, okay, here's my instructions, but what do I get at the end? So I wanted to know what a success point.
Almost at this point, to the benefits.
Yes, and as a newbie, that would be beneficial to me and more of it.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right, thanks, Steve. Thanks, all.
But I still want to see the stuff.
Good enough to check out the pathways.
Yeah.
Well done, Steve. And then last but not least, I'll be introducing Shar McBee, our tabletop.
All right, table topics. Okay, here we go. So. Let's see. Karan said that his AI program gave him a compliment. I have a friend in Australia who has an AI boyfriend that she's totally crazy about. Would you like to have an AI love partner? Kinsey.
I just knew that that question was coming right for me. I cannot lie because Claire, as my witness, I did experiment with it as just for fun, and I named him Cannon because that was like the voice. Like he was, I don't know, there was like Scream and River, and he was Cannon. So he was interesting. He had a very smooth voice, and he knew how to cater to my craziness. Like he was like feeding into it, and he was very flirty. And it was really intense. I'm like, this is AI. Like they're totally playing me right now. And it's kind of terrifying because there are people like your friend in Australia that are wholeheartedly falling in love with AI. And there is actually a movie about this. It's called Her, with Joaquin Phoenix. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you give it a watch because that's where we are right now. I've even heard of this guy in Japan putting AI into, sorry, this is like not PC, into a sex robot. And I just think that's too far, okay, guys? And he married her and calls her waifu, and I just think it's too far, and I think he needs to stop. But that's just me. I'm not gonna judge you too hard if you tell me you have an AI partner, but just a little bit.
All right, last week, Claire gave us some really good ideas about how to remember things. And tonight, Karan told us we don't have to bother remembering. So how do you remember things, or how do you find information that you need, that you know you have? Chris, you know.
Great. Shar, thank you for the question. And if you ask Karan, I don't do it very well. So I might not be the best person to answer this. But the way that I remember information is actually the best way I'll take your question on remembering information and being a master of information is to be able to teach it. And so at the point where you're able to educate another person on that information by telling the story, or maybe you learn more intentionally just by going through, taking the notes and having to communicate to someone else, at that point, it's in your long-term memory. And there's a bunch of different tactics that I've read. Is anyone here familiar with Coursera? It's an online course where you can take pretty much any.
Oh, I know. Yes.
It's great. So there's a course on there which I highly recommend. It's called Learning How to Learn. And it gives you several different tactics for long-term learning. So if you want something to stick into your long-term memory, this is what you should do. So a couple of tactics I remember off of it. Number one is that it's called, I don't remember some of the names of this, it's been a while. But the gist of it essentially is that you try, if you have one topic, you try and associate it with other topics. So you group and bundle it together. Another idea is it talks about how certain ideas can be broached together in your long-term memory by reviewing it day over day, and by just the repetition of sleep can help cement into your long-term memory as well. And of course, teaching it to someone else as well. So a bunch of different tactics on how you can learn something long-term. So hopefully Karan gets to your speech next time, some of those other soft skill tactics in addition to using the computer as well. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, Chris talked to us about how to remember, but he couldn't remember. Never mind. All right. You know, what did they call? What did you call Steve? LeBron James. Well, LeBron James of Toastmasters. I agree. So, what have you learned from LeBron Steve? Claire.
Great question. I agree that Steve is the LeBron James of speech giving. And I also want to say I appreciate how non-judgmental Kinsey is and that she said she wouldn't judge someone for having an AI boyfriend because I definitely would. What have I learned from Steve? I feel like Steve has this great showmanship and performance. He keeps us engaged by, I really think the thing that Steve does is he gets excited about his topic to the point where we're all excited to know about it. He's always really prepared. He has that vocal variety. He has those hard skills. He has the pacing, and he's confident up there. I'm never worried about him. I'm never worried. Does he know the next thing he's going to say? Does he feel confident in this topic? He always at least acts as if. I don't know if that's due to a lot of practice and genuinely knowing it or faking it till you make it. But I aspire to have Steve levels of confidence whenever I get up there. It's kind of like when you're at a comedy show and you want to just feel like you're in good hands with the comedian. And when you feel like the comedian is stressed or they don't know what's next, they're stressed about their line, then you're sort of in that stress with them, or maybe that secondhand embarrassment. It's really nice to just feel like they know what they're doing, they're in good hands, or we're in good hands, whether or not they actually do know what they're doing. And I appreciate that Steve can engage us on a variety of topics, whether it be travel, funny stories, or the inside baseball of Toastmasters. Thank you.
Thank you.
Inside baseball. Thank you. All right. So that's what Claire learned from Steve. What did you learn from this club? What have you learned from this club? Elle.
That's a big question. What have I learned?
Do you mind coming up here?
You got it.
Camera worthy.
It's a safe space. Get your magic work out there too.
What have I learned from this club? I have learned that I need to build my confidence in speaking. And I need to be camera worthy when I walk in. I have learned that this is a welcoming group of people, and that's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Elle. All right. And our other speaker, Karan, has given us a lot of wisdom, a lot of information all this time that he's been a member. So what did you learn? What have you learned from Karan? James.
Thank you. I'll attempt to answer both questions. We'll start with the Quran one. I learned so much from Quran from many of his speeches, but I'll start off with today's because all the speeches would take up a lot more time. Yeah, on the process flow one, he had a good quote that no workflow is going to be one-off. I think that's a great point. It's the give a man a fish versus teach a man a fish. I think we're all in our workday just trying to do the task in front of us as quickly as possible without thinking about the grand scheme of things. And in the next month, we'll be a lot more efficient if we take a half hour to look at the process, think about the bottlenecks, think about how we're going about it, think about the resources we're using to approach it. And so it's a good reminder that so many of these things that we think are one-off, there's really a broader pattern. So I think it's a really good reminder of that. And AI is a good tool, but there are also so many other tools we can do to really learn how to fish versus just get a fish one-off and not necessarily do the most efficient thing in front of us. And then I think from this club, one of my favorite shows of all time is called Community. Chevy Chase was in it. There's a couple other well-known actors. Joel McHale is, I think, one of the other ones. Ali Bree as well. But it's this collection of very interesting characters coming from different walks of life that really have it is true to its name, a community. And I think it's just a reminder of everything that's good about humanity and how people who come from different walks of life and may not seem to be the exact same person, when you meet them at the onset, can share so much in common and really have some incredible experiences and the humanity within it all. Thank you.
Yeah.
You have time.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, all right. So I love that you brought that up, James, because I think kind of the point I'm trying to make with these questions is that I think we learn more from people than we learn from our phones, our devices, our apps, etc. You know, yeah, connecting with people is where it's really all about in the long run. And it took me 81 years to figure that out. But so, Steve, what have you learned from Karan?
Oh. Interesting question. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Well, Karan, as we all know, is a very interesting person. He has great stories to tell. And one of the things that I learned from Karan early on was a story that he told, and he doesn't tell this story very often, but I have always wanted him to take this and develop it into a speech and compete in the Toastmaster speech contest. And that is about his experience in Iran when you went back. And one of the amazing things about Karan is how he adapted to that situation. And I'll give you a brief overview. He went back to Iran, was arrested, went to prison, and was tortured. Now, how do you deal with that mentally? And he had such a great solution. And I think it was where you really started to meditate and found the power of meditation, if I remember the story correctly. And it was so impressive because that is a situation that hopefully we never find ourselves in. But when he was confronted with that, he realized the power of the mind, the power of meditation. And I believe, if I remember the story correctly, that's what allowed you to live through that experience and learn and prosper as a result of it. Did I get it right?
You'll give a talk about it. Thank you.
Cool.
I have learned from Karan, actually, specifically, the power of humility is actually a confidence avenue, an avenue of confidence. And I always admire when you grow up and you speak. The way that you speak and the pace that you speak. I'm always hinged on your next word. So I like that very much.
Good. Right.
Very nice. All right, final question for Karan. What have you learned from me?
I've learned everything.
Everything.
First of all, it's a joy. And Shar is a great presentation of it. Life is always interesting when you participate. And it doesn't matter how old you are, where you are, as long as you keep moving and sharing, which is what she does. And we always have something to share, but especially since after we go through life and have a little bit of experience behind us, a lot of times I really appreciate the type of questions that you ask, because many times you don't know what people think of you until they actually express it. And like, oh, I love that. And I love her style of speaking, which is always personal. It's not, she's been a public speaker, but when she speaks, It always seems like she's talking to you personally, one-on-one. And humble, and when you have a president quote you, and she chooses to hang out with us. So I do appreciate that.
That's it. Mr. Toastmaster.
Oh, you didn't ask? Did you ask? Okay.
What?
It's clear as judge.
Everybody had.
No, they had questions.
Yeah, they did.
They both had questions.
All the way around.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you, Shar. That was beautiful. I think we're all feeling very seen right now. And with that, on a more serious note, we'll go to the calendar for Marion report. Claire, do you mind leading us through?
Yes. Good job tonight, guys. I didn't count that many filler words. Kenzie, you had 2 ums. Elle, you had 3 ums. Shar, you had a so and 3 all rights. Other than that, didn't hear a lot. Word of the day, I heard James and Steve use it. Good job, guys. And then a couple uses of language that I enjoyed. Oh, and Chris, you were clean. Karan said, life is always interesting if you participate. And Shar said, we learn more from people than we learn from our devices. Thanks.
Good. Perfect.
Thank you, Claire. And then our movement master.
This is the one for us. There's always room for improvements out there. Steve, I counted your one at the beginning, as I talked about. It's funny, I noted myself, I was like, my only goal for the day, as I was wrapping this up, to get a movement in. I noted, I did one, but it felt uncomfortable. It felt forced. So, most of the other movement was barely much within that little square box right there. There wasn't much besides that. So, I think for all of us, especially with as experienced as we are as speakers, that's something that we can definitely challenge ourselves on, is working throughout the course. It's easier when we have full meetings, because then you can make contact here, but we didn't do a great job, so we have to pass on this.
I want to challenge I'm going to send you guys a video. The guy I sat with for many years, Roger Webb. He was an incredible speaker. But, he gave his presentations on the desk. And he was a master of movements. But his movements were all with the hands. And every word that came out of his mouth was choreographed and synchronized with the hands.
Wow.
What I'm trying to say is that movement is not necessarily moving around, but it's being one with your gestures. Right? So it's not thinking about, I have to move around, but
Also just staring at Karan's hands then.
well, it's not, this is more of a, you have to see it. I'll send you guys the video because it's incredible when you watch it. Okay.
Perfect. And then last one, we have our timer report from Kenzie.
Hi, so everyone qualified except for Elle. Keep coming back, Elle. You can do this. Believe in you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. And with that, I will turn it back over to the President Karan.
I'm gonna go straight. Okay, do we have speakers for next week?
After my big speech. Oh, there you go.
Anybody online? You girls are volunteering?
Kenzie, what about starting a new path?
If no one else can speak, I can do it. I don't have a topic in mind, but I'll force myself to come up with something.
I'm traveling next week, so
Yeah, I'm traveling as well. I'll try to go forward.
Okay. I mean, I can do this on a pathway, my speech. Speech or persuasion.
Why don't we we could talk about that, but I'll put you down, okay?
Right.
Does
What
anyone
about-
have any topic ideas? Like throw me
Well,
a challenging topic.
the second pathway question is speaking with a purpose. So you could read that on the pathways and do that next week. Super
Okay.
easy.
Yeah, and well, like with this, are you signed up for Pathways, Claire?
I probably need to do that.
Okay, So why don't we'll connect throughout the week and we'll take care of that and then figure out what your speech will be. Okay.
Claire, you also.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I should.
Claire, can you hear us? I'm back.
Sorry, what was that?
Subject.
I can. I'll be your heard. So you don't mute. I can.
What would you?
Recording in progress.
What was your?
The idea, everyone has a water bottle. How important are these water bottles? Why do we choose the colors? Like, you know, like what is your?
That would be a challenging topic.
Yeah.
See, I like challenging topics.
To include others, very.
Yeah,
It sounds like you want that.
Yeah, it does. Claire, can you hear me?
Mhm.
One other topic too, I know you just did that long phrase with your parents or your dad.
What about my parents?
Steve, can you unmute? I'm gonna. You can hear me.
Yeah. How about that?
Oh yeah. Is this any better, Claire?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say you just did that race you told us about a couple weeks ago with your family.
Oh, yeah.
That could
Could
be a
talk
good
about
topic.
that.
You want to talk about the training or the mental adversity, or there are parts of the race you felt like quitting, and you end up pushing through, like tips or tips on how you were successful with that. I feel like personal stories go a long way, and that's something that's very challenging that could draw some inspiration for the rest of the group.
Definitely. Okay. I might go with that. Thank you.
Okay, good. What I'll do is I'll get a hold of you. We'll get you signed up for Pathways, and I'll show you how to do it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Good. So and we'll do the same with you, Karan. Okay. Timer.
Claire, I think she did the marathon or half marathon.
Timer. Count.
We can pick those. Word of the day and joke master. Those are.
Thought of the day.
Do the joke. I'll do the joke.
Did
and
you
joke.
guys not hear the poem at all for the thought of the day, or was it in and out? What's going
We
on?
can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
Shar is the joke, and the thought will be whom? I can do a thought.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, sure.
It'll be read the Odyssey. Okay. Now.
Importance of Homer to Western civilization.
Land it, Homer. Okay, here we go. Everybody ready? Everybody have a screen? Elle, where are you?
Al.
Yeah, your camera ready now. Come on. All right. All right, here we go.
With Shar McBee.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Yay! See what do you think, guys? There. Elle is photo bombing. All right, there we go.
Thank you.
Good.
Bye.
See you next week, guys.